two very important topics. We are very lucky that we have today a very senior and experienced presenter for leadership, because you all know we find training for different topics, but it's very difficult for the leadership training. So thank you, Ms. Nelicia. You accepted our invitation in the last meet and you came today here for us. You spared your valuable time. And the another topic will be on PHA, where Mr. Bharat Thakkar is going to present us on the PHA study, role of PHA study in the risk reduction. This is basically his experience sharing also. He has seen a many incident. I'm just going to put highlight. He has a 40 years of experience in this industry. So it is very good for us to hear few of incidents which he experienced personally. And those we will have, because of limited time, I'm sure we could not elaborate it. But yes, we will have a good idea of incident prevention and his experience. Later on also, he is going to present us for PHA HAZOP leader course starting from 25th of this month. So Mr. Bharat will be our tutor from TUV side, and he will be giving us training for 4 days. That is on 25th, 27th, 4th, and 6th. So February and March, we will have a PHA and HAZOP leader course by Mr. Bharat Thakkar. So thank you so much. And I am also thankful to all the participants. The day we put announcement regarding PHA HAZOP leader course, on the first day only, we have got 15 participants who have already registered and paid for this course. And the next day, another 5. So our batch is almost full. And that's a very good response from all of you guys. Thank you so much. The feedback from your side like this will enable core committee and our committees, ASSP team who are working for you guys. It will give more idea to us that what exactly our people wants. So thank you so much for this. Then we will go to the expectation from the PSM forum, and we will have Thanksgiving once again from my side, and we will have networking. So let us move ahead with our first thing. I would like to call upon Mr. Jahid Thakur, our president of ASSP Kuwait chapter, who is leading the team here and arranging such a nice and wonderful technical meets and guiding us for the great courses to arrange for our people. So Mr. Jahid Thakur, please, screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Majar. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening to all. Hope you and your family members are doing well. On behalf of ASSP Kuwait chapter, I would like to welcome all the participants for today's process safety technical meet. This is the 8th PSM technical meet organized by ASSP Kuwait chapter. In order to develop professionals in the field of process safety and to provide a platform for networking, ASSP Kuwait chapter established a special PSM specialty group. We are conducting this process safety meet every month on 3rd Wednesday. And we had made one WhatsApp group, Kuwait PSM. I would like to request all the interested people to join in that group. And you can send your request on our WhatsApp number, chapter's WhatsApp number 50941075. Mr. Ramanna will write in the chat box. You can copy from there. Let me highlight our upcoming events. GCC Excellence Award, we are planning to launch award program within couple of weeks. I request everyone to participate from their company side. This is a GCC based award program. Second one, training on Global OSA 101 General Worker Safety, scheduled on 25th and 26th February. This is during holiday we had scheduled, so you can use of that. And as our Vice President, Mr. Majar, has already informed, training on certified PHA HAZOP leader on 25th and 27th February and 4th and 6th March. This is evening course from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Make use of these and enhance your knowledge in process safety management. I would like to welcome our today's both speaker, Madam Nalicia and Mr. Bharat Thakkar, for providing their valuable time. I would like to extend my sincere thanks and gratitude to our mentor, Mr. Ujwal Rutvik, our past GRVP, Mr. Ashok sir, Mr. Majhar, our Vice President, and entire core committee to organize this wonderful process safety technical meet. Thank you all. Over to you, Mr. Majhar. Mr. Majhar.
Sir, I hope he has some internet issue.
No problem.
Hello. Yes.
Yes,
Am I
yes, Mr.
audible?
Yes, you are audible. Just now we had
Yes.
complete. Yes.
Okay. So once again, as Mr. Jahid has already told all of you that we are having this technical meet every third Wednesday in the evening time for an hour or a couple of minutes more than that. And we are having two presentations. One is from the experienced personnel and one is from the new personnel who is new to the PSM and who has gone through our course. PSM 60, they are taking benefit of that, so their presentation skills, but we will improve. But we are very lucky today that we have two very experienced presenters with us and with very good topics. So let us just ask Ramana, Mr. Ujwal is there?
No, not
Ujwal sir?
He will be joining.
He's joining?
No, not yet.
Okay, no issues. So let us start our presentation. Maybe after the presentation, we will see him again with us like last time. So let us go to the, So we will have a first presentation. This is a very good training. Personally, I would like to have this kind of trainings for our PSM and as well as for the ASSP Kuwait chapter members. This will be on leadership and it will be given by Ms. Nalicia. She is holding bachelor's degree in chemical engineering and she is also a mother and working towards the development of the people like us who are in industry and who wants to update their skills like leadership skills and other skills, how to work or how to become a positive in their life. So it is very good for us and very fortunate for us that she is with us today to throw light on this topic. So Miss Nalicia, the screen is yours and we will go ahead with your presentation.
Hello, ASSP Kuwait chapter. It is my pleasure to be with you this evening. I think it's evening in most parts of the world. It's 11 o'clock in the afternoon here in the United States, and I am in the sunny state of Florida. So a little bit, and thank you for that introduction, Mazar. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for that introduction. So I'm a senior safety professional. I've been in manufacturing for 20 years. Some of my job titles, a process engineer, environmental engineer, safety manager, corporate safety manager, and safety compliance manager. Some of the industries that I've worked in, the pharmaceutical industry, food and beverage, and healthcare products. Some of my experience that I want to highlight as a part of being in part of this presentation is that I do have a very strong PSM risk management plan background from the OSHA and the EPA perspective, lockout, tagout, and machine safety, and then also workers' compensation, being a senior safety professional. I'm also a general industry outreach trainer. Recently, about a little over a year and a half, 2 years ago, I became a part of the John Maxwell team. So I'm very focused on leadership development, being a keynote speaker, coaching, and leadership training. So I'm very excited to add that to my toolbox and for that to be an area of focus for me as I move forward in my career. So during today's session, sort of our purpose is to discuss failure and also the leadership role and responsibility when it comes to failure. So for those of you that are trainers, site supervisors, operation employees, plant maintenance, I'd like to suggest a few reasons why we fail and steps to overcome. Now, if you're a leader or an influencer in your organization or field, I'd like for you to consider some of the roles and responsibilities as an influencer. Please share the chat feature if you have questions or comments, or just like to share some of your insight as we go through the presentation. And then right at the end, we'll have a question and answer session. I actually have polls that we've added throughout the presentation. And then we'll go back and just share some of the insights that I think are important for you to take away from the presentation.
That's what.
So some of the reasons for failure. I can talk to you and give you slogans or jargon around take action and reduce your fear. The majority of your fears and worries are unfounded. I can tell you that fear is the thief of all dreams, or find the benefit in every experience. But I'd like to take a different approach as we talk about it failing and failing forward. From my perspective, failure, some of the important aspects of failure and things that don't happen when people fail, they fail to communicate and connect and ask good questions. And as technical leaders within our respective organizations or working in a technical field, asking good questions, connecting, and communication are very important aspects. Now, the role from a leadership and influencer perspective, leaders, it's very important that we invest in others, we empower others, and we multiply others exponentially. And the major impact that those aspects and things can actually have on our respective organizations. Connecting. What is connecting? Connecting is the ability to identify with people and relate to them in such a way that it increases our influence with them. Connecting goes beyond words. Connecting, there's 3 components to connecting when you're having face-to-face communication. It's the words that we speak. It's the tone of voice that we use. And it's also your body language. Those are all aspects of connecting and communication when we're looking at face-to-face communication. And believe it or not, how others believe what we say when we communicate, what we say compromises 7% of what people receive when we communicate. That other 93% is based on what others see, as well as the way that we say what we say. So 90% of the impression that we often convey has nothing to do with actually what we're actually saying. So please be mindful of that as we go out and we communicate and we connect in our various fields. So when we think about connecting and performance, especially from a technical perspective in our respective areas, you have high connectors and performers, you have average connectors and performers, and we have low connectors and performers. High connectors and performers, some of the characteristics of high connectors and performers are they care about the people as well as the profits. They view others optimistically. They seek advice from others. Average connectors and performers, some of the characteristics when we encounter people, and you may know people that fall in either of these categories, but average connectors and performers, they concentrate on production. They focus more on their own status, and they're reluctant to seek advice from others. Low connectors and performers, some of the characteristics, and you may see or run across individuals, especially from a leadership perspective when you're looking at your various teams, or newcomers to your organizations or to the field, they may fall into this category initially. And it's very important that we work to connect with them as leaders and to build them and develop them. But low connectors and performers are preoccupied with their own security. Low connectors and performers show a basic distrust of others. And low connectors and performers are self-sufficient and they do not seek advice. So if you fall in that particular category, start internally thinking and identifying ways that you can shift so that you can move from low performer connector to average connector performer, as well as, and then to ultimately the high connector and performer. So I have a poll question for you now. So the poll question is, so let me. So the first poll question is, what type of connector and performer are you? And I'll give it about another second. So the results. So 44% of the participants feel that they fall into the high connector and performer category. So thank you for sharing that. So you're all about the people and the profits, optimistic, and you definitely seek advice. 53% of the participants today fall or consider themselves to be average connectors and performers. So you're more focused on the production status and reluctant. So consider these things as you move forward. And there was one individual that considers themselves to be a low connector and performer. So with this information and these tools, I suggest or strongly suggest that you look at and connect with individuals in your organization. And as we move further along in my presentation, we'll have an opportunity to see some of the things that influencers are doing as they identify individuals that they'd like to pour into or develop. Questions. Why do you think questions are important? Questions are important, and we must ask questions to develop and grow. This holds true during your first assignment as well as throughout your career. The more questions you ask, the more answers you receive. The more answers you receive, the better equipped you become to lead. Never ever worry about appearing foolish or as if you didn't know when you ask a question. You may be surprised when everyone around you develops more respect for you, not less, because you did the one thing that most people are terrified to do. You admitted you didn't know anything. Can you imagine being in the middle of a PSM incident investigation or participating in a process hazard analysis and not asking questions? One of the things that I do when I'm facilitating or conducting the PHA is when I ask questions, I like to look at the people that are participating in that PHA because I like to see their expressions and how they respond in their body language. And that actually points me in the direction of my area of focus or where I'd like to hone in on more information about the specific process. So asking questions is very, very important. Asking questions gives you the power to solicit quality feedback, spark innovation, and avoid fire drills, or another word would be reactive behaviors. And it helps to show the team show up as their best selves. Questions are good for 8 primary reasons. You only get answers to the questions you ask. Questions unlock and open doors that otherwise remain closed. For example, when you face a problem and you're not sure what to do or ask. Some of the things you might consider is, why do we have this problem? How do we solve this problem? What specific steps must we take to solve this problem? Questions are the most effective means of connecting with people. Questions cultivate humility. For example, isn't it strange how we must surrender being right in order to find what's right? How humility enables us to be very authentic, vulnerable, trustworthy, and more intimate or close to each other. People are open to those who are open to them. Questions help you to engage others in conversation. Questions allow you to build better ideas. Questions give you a different perspective. And it's very important as safety professionals or as professionals and technical professionals that we ask questions so that we can get a more holistic or better perspective from all different aspects. So it's very important. Questions are very important in everything that I do, and I'm sure you would feel the same way. Questions challenge mindsets, and they'll get you out of ruts or those tough spots. Now I would like to talk more to the leaders and influencers that are in the group. It's very important as leaders and influencers that we invest in others and that we lead by example. Some of the benefits of investing in leaders in our organizations is investing in others raises your influence to a new level. Investing in others raises the new leader's personal potential, as well as it multiplies resources and it ensures a positive future for your organization. Some of the aspects and impact, and I like that because I'm always in the middle of doing some type of aspect and impact assessment. But what are some of the things that you have to ask yourself as you prepare to invest in others? Am I investing in myself? So even as leaders and influencers, we have to continue to invest in ourselves. And this is a question of personal growth. Am I genuinely interested in others? That's a question of motivation. Am I grounded as a leader? That's a question of stability. Do you represent stability? Am I adding value to my team? That's a question of teamwork. It's very important that we work together as a good team. Am I in my strength zone? That's a question of effectiveness. Am I taking care of today? That's a question of success. Am I investing my time in the right people? Am I leading by example? So it's very important that we as leaders and influencers ask ourselves these questions as we go out and we impact and realize that others are watching us and they're taking sometimes their lead and their initiative from what we project and what we convey. Now, as we go about working and we're doing our leadership evaluations, we're working with human resources and the leadership team, it's very important that we do a really good job of identifying the people that we should invest in. So some of the characteristics that you should consider when we identify those individuals are the influence factor. Do they influence others? The capacity factor. Do they have the potential to grow and develop? The attitude factor. Do they desire to grow and develop themselves? The chemistry factor. Do we like each other? Do we get along with each other? The passion factor. Are they self-motivated? Is there something inherently in them that's going to ensure that they're self-motivated, and are they projecting that? The character factor. Are they grounded? The value factor. Are our values compatible? The teamwork factor. Do they work well with others? The support factor. Do they add value? Now I have another polling question for you. And the question is, do you consider yourself to be someone that a leader would invest in? So give it about another second or two, and then we'll end the polling. Okay, so 90% of our participants indicated that yes, they see themselves as someone that a leader would invest in. And now we do have 10% of the participants that feel that they are not someone that a leader would invest in. So it's very important. These are some very good factors that you may want to consider as you move forward and you continue to grow and develop in your organization, becoming a person of influence, looking at capacity, your attitude, chemistry. Do you get along with people? Passion. Are you really encouraged in what you do? Character, value, teamwork, support. These are all things that should be considered as you move forward and develop in your career. Empowering. When you empower people, you're not just influencing them, you're influencing all of the people around them. That's a quote by John Maxwell, my mentor. People under the influence of an empowering person are like paper in the hands of a talented artist. When you empower people, you're not just influencing them, you're influencing everyone around them. So please always remember that. Some of the qualifications of an empower. Position. It is impossible to empower those you do not lead. You must lead by example. And you never know who's watching you. Relationship. Real relationships are forged, not formed. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. Respect. Relationships may cause people to want to be with you, but respect causes them to want to be empowered by you. Commitment. So how dedicated are you to the process? Are you willing to allow those that you empower to learn from their mistakes? But consider whether or not that's feasible based on the task that you're expecting them to perform. But it's very important that we allow individuals the opportunity to learn from their mistakes. Ask questions, engage. Is there anything that would keep them from completing their assignment? Follow up with them. So those are all important things to consider. Now I have another poll question for you. And poll question number 3 is, do you consider yourself to be an empowerer? And so the results, 91% said yes, they consider themselves to be an empower, and 9% indicated no. So the individuals, that 9% that said no, these are some of the things that as you continue to grow and develop in your respective fields or areas of expertise, think about these and consider your position, the relationships that are established, whether or not respect. People don't respect you. If people don't respect you, that's something that you may want to look at, sort of developing those particular characteristics and become a person that people want to respect. And then also commitments. How dedicated are you to the process? And how you empower others to reach their potential. So I have some suggestions for the leaders and the influencers in the organizations that are on the call. Evaluate people. What are they capable of? And sort of look at these areas: knowledge, skill, desire. Model for them. People want to know what you expect. Give permission to succeed. Here is how to do that. Expect it, verbalize it, and reinforce it. Transfer authority to them. Give them challenges you know that they can meet so that they experience some level of success. Publicly acknowledge. That's very important. Everyone wants to be publicly acknowledged. Publicly show your confidence in them. Acknowledge them in front of others. Supply them with feedback. That's so important, to receive feedback. You never know your impact until you get feedback. And release them. Release them to go and become a success. Steps to multiplying others exponentially. So there's some steps that can be taken. Understand the power of multiplication. Multiplying others raises your influence to a new level. Awaken the producer in you. Do you add value to others? Successful team orientation. Do I add values to others? Do I add value to the organization? Am I quick to give away credit when things go right? Move from maintenance to multiplication. Most people live in the maintenance mode. There's some stages to going from maintenance to multiplication. You scramble initially, survival mode, then you siphon, you might neglect to build relationships, but then at some point, synergy occurs. And at this point, you're building people, you have strong relationships, and you're empowering others. And the last step is significance. Raising leaders to multiply others increases your influence. And by that, model integrity, show faith in others, listen to them, understand them so that you can help them achieve their dreams. Navigate through difficult life difficulties and decisions and empower them. So some of the insights from this presentation today that I'd like for you to take away as a part of this is that communication is about the words you speak, your tone, and your body language. Questions are good. Strive to be a high connector and high performer. Invest in others and lead by example. When you empower people, you also influence the people around them. So please remember that. and create an environment for growth. Creating an environment for growth is so important. It's a major level of influence as you move forward and you help to develop other people within your organization. And there is power in multiplying others. It strengthens the organization. Thank you, ASSP Kuwait, for allowing me to present to you my perspective when it comes to leadership. If you'd like to connect with me or have additional questions, please indicate as such in the chat room. The name of my company is NERSA Leadership Consulting. My number here in the US, and I'm sure there's some US country codes that you'd have to apply before that, but the direct number in the US is 786-763-2466. And my email address is Nalicia, Nalicia at NERSA, NERSALC.com. And my website to get a little bit more information about me is www.nersalc.com. And I have a really robust marketing system and just some of the things that I'm up to. You can go to my website, www.nersalc.com. But I have a really good leadership newsletter. There's some goal, achieving your goal, an email series. And then I'm also offering a complimentary leadership goal webinar, which will be February the 28th. So that's a few weeks from now. And then conquering your goals and how badly do you want to accomplish your goals. And then a 5-week deeper dive study into leadership goal mastermind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nalicia. It was really wonderful. Something different than what we are doing on a regular basis. Wow. Thank you so much. And it is really very insightful presentation because we generally do not give that much thought for ourselves to do. We see many times that some people are moving very fast on the stairs up, and if you think on them, they are a very good connectors. They connect with people nicely, and they made some relations with them. So we see this kind of people, they are going faster than others who are not connecting themselves in their career. So this is wonderful thing. And also the asking questions. Yes, you are right. It is very important to develop and grow. And the very important in safety is, ma'am has said that engage others in conversation. So questions are doing this engagement, which is very important in terms of process safety. There is a thing called one of the element of process safety is employee engagement. And when you ask question to them, you try to know from them, they also feel good about it, right? And of course your body language and the tone does matter a lot when you are asking the questions, because the single question can make your impression positive or negative. So that's really a good thing. Now we need to think in this way also we have to ask ourselves the question one against: are we a good connector? Are we asking questions wherever required, right? So, and are we setting the example where who all are the leaders here, or who wants to become a leader in future? It is very important for them to set an example. What they are expecting from others, they should show them by doing that. So really this is quite different, and I learned a lot from that, though it seems a very simple stuffs here and wordings we knows, but it is really very useful and insightful. I'm sure each and everyone here has got a very much important things for themselves, and I request all of you to think on these words which Madam Nalicia has told today. So thank you, Nalicia, once again. Any questions you have before? I think Mr. Ujjwal sir has also joined us. Ujjwal sir.
Hi everybody.
Hello
Good
sir,
evening.
welcome. I am apologizing, sir. I have seen just when we have started you joined, but we just want to be on
No,
time as you directed us.
Please accept my apologies. Actually, I got delayed I had a minor issue on the street. So anyway, of course, it was a very good presentation, very insightful, and Mother, you have already told. So let's have a few questions before we move on to Mr. Bharat Thakkar. I see quite a few comments on the chat, but as
And
Nalisha
someone
just now
raised hand.
said, yeah, Nalisha just now said it is the questions that change, that would change you and me and everyone. So go ahead. Ashok.
Thank you,
Ashok, can
sir,
you
for the
unmute
opportunity.
yourself? Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for the opportunity. Nalisha briefly talked about the connecting, Nowadays, because of the COVID, we all talk about the webinars, Zoom platforms, or MST. I'm interested to know from her how we can engage our audience during our virtual presentations, ma'am.
Well, I can tell you that since May of last year, I've actually been doing weekly, every Thursday night, actually leadership training. And one of the things that I do to engage the my participants is I usually have a list of all the names of all the participants. And as I go through the presentation, I ask, and I'll call individuals out specifically, how does this resonate with you? And I'll throughout the presentation, I'll have specific questions I ask. During this presentation, for instance, we did polling. So polling is very important. One of the other things that I like to do when I'm presenting is to actually use the breakout rooms. And Zoom, it's very easy to set up the breakout room, and then random people are in each room. And then you've already had talking points that you'd like the various rooms to discuss. And then that group can come back, and then one individual can present the outcome that that group came up with, or the response.
Okay.
And so I love using breakout rooms. I think that they're very important. And if you don't engage the participants and call them out specifically and ask their name and, hey, John, what does this represent to you? Hey, Hamid, what do you think about this? You have to specifically call people out. And I've been doing weekly Zoom meetings with leadership training such as this since May. And that seems to work with me, and I get really positive feedback.
Thank you. Thank you
Great.
for little tips. Thank you, ma'am. Yes.
Do we have some more questions, please?
Someone raised hand, but then I think we lowered. So I'll just check.
Okay, for you guys.
Muruganandam, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Good evening to all. Madam, just I need your advice. How to engage with the audiences if come from the multi-language. Suppose like a leadership meeting or leadership training or any safety training, how to engage with the participants from multi-language. Any other tips for us?
So I think the question is, how do you communicate when there's multiple languages and maybe the main language is not language from everyone that everyone speaks? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, correct.
I just think that it's very important as a presenter or a speaker that you know your audience. And so if, for instance, there's multiple languages, there may be instances where you need an interpreter, or there's some software out there. I know there's a Zoom is collaborating with this other company called Otter to where it can transcribe the conversation and put it on the screen. So those may be some different options, but it's very important that the presenter know and understand the audience so that they can speak to that audience.
Good tip.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, we will take one more last question before we move on to the next speaker. And we will, even at the end of the session, we will have maybe some more questions for Nalisha. So any more question at this point?
Okay, with that being said, thank you so much for allowing me to present today, and I look forward to participating in future meetings. And I actually am going to have to leave at this particular point. I have EPA scheduled to be on site tomorrow at my facility to conduct the risk management and R&P inspection that's ultimately a PSM program review. And as the corporate safety compliance manager, I'm leading the initiative and effort. And so I have a number of things that I need to follow up on, but I could not miss the opportunity to speak to the group. And I thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes, Delicia, we have a few questions, but because you are so busy, we would ask them to send question maybe separately, and possibly if you can find time to answer them. It has been very, very kind enough for you to spare time for us, and certainly we would, remain connected. See, many of us would be wondering, I mean, what leadership has to do with PSM, and those who know PSM would answer that it has to do everything with leadership, be it culture or be it employee engagement. These are the PSM issues that we are talking of. So Nalisha, thank you very much, and in future we would like to have we would like you to join our regular sessions regularly. So see you next time, and thank you very much from all of us.
Absolutely. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Great. So now we move on to Mr. Bharat Thakkar. And Bharat, if you are ready, it is so kind of you as well that you could find time for us. Although the second session, or rather every meeting, every monthly meeting, we have two presentations, and we reserve one presentation for someone who is upcoming on the ladder of PSM, PSM ladder. But it is always good to have someone as experienced and profound like you. So please join us and introduce yourself, and go ahead with your session.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much. At the outset, I would like to thank everybody for allowing me the wonderful opportunity to present the role of PHA in risk reduction. So that will be my topic for the today. So we will start with the topic. Yeah, this is the presentation. Our company is HSE Consultant. On behalf of TU Vinod, I am going to present this presentation on this topic of risk analysis. Okay, next is introduction. Myself, Bharat Thakkar. I have more than 45 years experience, as you have already narrated to everybody. For 32 years, I worked in Gujarat State Fertilizers and Chemicals Limited, Baroda, in various positions, in various plants, and in technical department, design department, as well as fire protection and all that. Then in 2008, we floated a company, partnership firm in the name of HSE Consultant, and since 13 years, we are working in this field. And we have done we have facilitated HAZOP, HAZIR, FEATHER, SEAL, audit, etc. And moreover, we have the clientele from Middle East as well as Southeast. We have worked for the KOC, OXY, EDNOC, SABIC. In India, IOCL, OIL, GNFC. For the Russian project, Volga-FUT and SOCAR, etc. This is our background, and now let us go for directly. Let us move on to the topic, because it's already very late time. But in India, of course, it is there. I think it is 8 o'clock there. So our topic is the role of PHA in risk reduction. So first of all, we should know what is PHA. PHA is a process hazard analysis. Now, what is process? If you see, the process has begun right from the beginning, and the most prevalent process is going on in our kitchen. If you see, everything that we have in industry, we are doing in kitchen also. If you take that analogy, it will be easy for us to understand that series of mechanical, chemical operations are taking place in our kitchen. So that is the process. So housewives and mothers and sisters, they are the best processors rather than the chemical engineers also. Hazard. So what is hazard is a potential source of harm. It is not harm, but there is a possibility of harming. If we have a gas in and it is burning, then there is a potential that we may get the burn injury. But it is not always you get the burn, but there is a hazard associated with it. And analysis means it is a detailed examination of the elements that will cause the hazard. So if you define it this way, that the systematic effort designed to identify, analyze the hazard associated with the processing or handling the highly hazardous materials. Then analyzing is, as I said, we can analyze everything, whether what type of material is there, whether it is flammable, explosive, toxic, and all that. Then we need to analyze what actions we are taking place, and based on the actions and the property of the material, there is a possibility of hazard. And we determine that the failure points. What in the PHA we determine the failure points. What can fail in the matter of operation, whether it is a human failure or whether it is an equipment failure or it can be instrument failure, like that. Now let us start with some examples. Why the process hazard analysis started, in fact, because the process, as I said, it was going on since the humankind started preparing the food, or when the cooking was started, the process was started. But if you see from when the hazard analysis was started, so there were certain accidents took place in 1970s and 80s, which led to the thinking in the thinking provoked that we should do something for analyzing these things. The first spark was by the Flixborough accident, where in 1974 in England, Flixborough, there was an accident. It was due to the release of cyclohexane, and entire plant was gutted to the ash. Now, why this incident is very important to us is because in India there are only two manufacturers of the caprolactam plant. One is GSFC, where I was working, and another is in FSCT Cochin. So, hello. Yeah.
Participants,
So
please mute your mics. Please mute your mic.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, very clear. Ramana, please take care to mute the person by mistake they or switch on their mic.
Okay.
Please
so
go ahead.
I was coming to this Flixborough accident. Why it is very important when we installed the plant in 1971 of the caprolactam plant, and the same process where Inventa process was there in our plant also, which Flixborough also used to produce the anion, that is the benzene hydrogenation and further oxidation of the cyclohexane to produce the one of the raw material for the further processing to get the caprolactam. Now this accident took place in Flixboro in 1974. Commissioning of the GSFC plant was planned in 1976. So what happened that the thinkers of the plant in GSFC and the inventor had a meeting. At that time, some of the person asked that if such thing happens in GSFC caprolactam plant, what should we do? The answer to that question was that those who are staying 5 square kilometer away from the plant, they should come after a few days and put a board. Once upon a time, there was GSFC. Means nothing can be saved if such accidents takes place. So when such accidents take place, the people are thinking that what should be done. That's why the process hazard analysis came into picture. There was another accident in India, in Bhopal, about the MIC, where there were a lot of fatalities, and in other countries also. Now I will go to some of the day-to-day things which can happen in plant and how the process hazard analysis can allow us to reduce the risk. Next slide. Yeah. So first of all, we see what are the common tools or technique for the process hazard analysis. At the preliminary stage, it is a checklist and what if. Then there is a hazard operability study, failure mode effect analysis, and QRA. These are some of the techniques. There are certain more techniques also, but these are the preliminary, these are the techniques which are used for the process hazard analysis, tools or techniques. Yeah, so let us move on to this another example that took place in Gujarat refinery near to the plant where I was working in GSFC. There was a huge fire and 2 storage tanks, MS storage tanks, were gutted to the fire, and you can see previous one, and the second picture shows how it was after the accident took place. Now how it took place, let us see how did it happen. What was the failure and how did it happen? These are the 2 storage tanks, tank 1 and tank 2. They are for the dispatch. MS Spirit is nothing but the petrol dispatch tanks are there. So they are pumping the petrol to the tankers and again to the road tankers, rail tankers and everything. And this is a dispatch point from where it is going on. Now, during the pumping or during the transferring of the and filling up of the tankers and the storage tanks, tankers and the road tankers and the road tankers, railroad tankers, what happens that when we start the pump, we start the minimum flow line also, because it is a frequent operation. Once the tanker is filled, we have to stop the operation for some time. So during that time, our pump should not get pressurized and all that. That is why there is a minimum flow line provided. But here you see there are 2 tanks. Now, if I am taking from A tank, I should open the line to the A tank only. Minimum flow line should be open to the A tank. But that day, by mistake, what happened that the person who started the operation, that operator opened minimum flow line to B tank, taking the raw material, that is MS Spirit, for the dispatch from A tank. So B tank was ready, it was filled also. In that case, what happened that some of the material, whenever it is coming to the through the minimum flow line, went into the B tank, and B tank started overflowing. So there was an overflow of MS Spirit in, and there was a pool. So once there is a pool, there is a cloud formation. Till there is no problem. But what happens that there was one jeep, a security jeep was passing by that point, and there was a spark, and that spark is a source of ignition for the cloud that had formed, and then there was a huge fire, and both the tanks got burned, damaged all the MS spirit was burned till the fuel was emptied. This incident continued. So if you see that how can we avoid such things? Second thing is, if we have a checklist, that the preliminary checklist, that all the vehicles in the area should have the spark arrestor, then the source of ignition could have been avoided. Second thing, if the procedure is well laid and if we had done at that time HAZOP, then what would have happened? We could have put the high alarm or high interlock. So anything going on high level could have stopped the transferring pump, and accident could have been avoided. But unfortunately, this didn't happen, and things went other way around, and the incident took place. So this is one of the incidents which I think it was eye-opening for the process hazard analysis study to be carried out for the anything that we do. Next is, there is another example, similar example is there, that this is for the oleum, and this has occurred in that is oleum release from the Petrolia Pennsylvania. What happened that they were transferring the oleum from the source to the day tank, and usually earlier there was one tank, one pump was provided because the consumption was very less. But after the modification and all that, the consumption increased. So they installed another pump, and things were done accordingly. So whatever the interlocks they had provided for the one pump, they provided it for they shifted it to the second pump, and filling was started. Normally, there is a tendency among the operators on the weekend days to get the things done fast. And in that case, they normally used to start the two pumps simultaneously, old pump as well as new pump. New pump was having high capacity, old pump was having low capacity. So in the same fashion, operators started both the pumps for filling up the oleum day tank. That was again, it was a time of shift change, and it was not properly logged. So the person who came next didn't know what is happening, and once the high level reached, the pump which was provided with the interlock got stopped. But the another pump, which was old one, which was not provided with the interlock, it continued pumping, and the oleum day tank overflowed, and 2,500 people were required to be evacuated because of the toxic release, oleum release. So if you see, if management of change would have been followed strictly, and when NPHA analysis would have been carried out properly, they could have either removed the old pump, which they allowed it to be tapped, or they could have provided the to stop on the high level, and that incident could have been avoided. There is another incident which I have experienced. In GSFC, we have a nylon 6 plant, which is using caprolactam as a raw material, and this is related to the maintenance accident due to the maintenance activities. Yes. If you see in this, there is a material is transferred by pump from source to the tank reactor R XXX. That name is there. But what happened that there was some maintenance carried out, and after maintenance the clearance was received. So they started the transferring of the material to the another tank. While doing so, there was some leakage in the valve mentioned here, and it went into the insulated open insulated part and sipped in the insulation annular portion, and it was soaked by the insulation. Now after this time was I think it was the time when the evening or the dinner time was there, so maintenance people had gone for the dinner. After coming from the dinner, they started the welding of the platform, which was open for carrying out the maintenance. Once the building of the was carried out, that was a source of ignition. Spark was there, and the spark went inside the insulator and insulation portion. Insulation got heated up, and subsequently there was a huge fire, and entire plant was burnt. And we had to install a new plant in place with the new reactor and all that. Next is. Next example is in GNFC. There is another plant in near Baroda. There is a Bharuch, and there is one another Gujarat Narmada Valley Fertilizer Chemicals, where there was a huge leak of phosgene gas in the TDI plant. Now, what happened that in that case, some work was taken up, and after that they were restarting the plant. During that time, the large amount of circulating liquid which absorbs the phosgene had been transferred to the storage tank, and there was a pressurization in the tank, and gas was released outside. That led to the fatality of 10 people in the nearby area. 10 people were killed in this incident, and that led to the rehab and all that, and then some measures were suggested. That was also, this HAZOP was carried out by me on behalf of LR also. Next is. So these are some of the examples which provokes the people, provokes us to create the to go for the process hazard analysis. Now, what is the important? Why process hazard analysis is important? It creates the awareness of the hazard and risk. So unless we are aware of what is going to happen, we cannot prevent it or we cannot mitigate it. So awareness is very important. Whatever process hazard analysis we carry out HAZOP, HAZID, QRA. This creates the awareness among the people regarding what are the hazards there, what can be the causes of the hazard, what will be the consequence of hazard, and then people can be made aware and take care. Then identified who may be at risk. Once we come to know that what is the hazard, we come to know that who is at risk. Then determine whether determines whether the control program is required for the particular hazard, or what are the control system is available. Evaluate the effective effect of the hazard on the people. Find out the existing control measures, whether they are adequate or not. We should identify. These are all, if you see, HAZOP, HAZID, these are all team studies. It is not an individual study, but it is a team study, because you see, individually one may have some other thinking, but when team studies, it can take so many views, and it helps the make the things much safer, or it reduces the risk much lower. Prevent the injuries to the illness, especially when done at the design and planning stage. If we do it at the planning and design stage, then we need not have the much modification, and once the design stage is completed, and if we need to do something, then it calls for a major modification and with the liquor requirement. That is why the PHA is important. Goal for the PHA is to try to answer the following question: what can happen and under what circumstances? When we carry out any PHA study, our goal is to find out as you know, what, why, when we ask such questions, we come to know that what can happen, what are the possible consequences. So if you take the case of health, we try to find out the causes, consequences, safeguard available, and recommendations and risk ranking and all that. How likely are the possible consequences occur? That is basically risk ranking part. And is risk controlled effectively or not? Or further action is required or not? That also we can find out from the PHA analysis. PHA. General methodology for PHA is to identify, are the people exposed to the harm resulting from the operation? Means any time when we are doing any operation, whether people are exposed to what type of hazard, say whether it is fire hazard, whether it is toxic release hazard, whether it is health hazard, whether it is the injury hazard or type of, that type of we need to identify if, when any action is taken, what can happen. Then we assess it. What are the causes and consequences? Again, everywhere we need to find out the cause and consequence, and whether they are in safe mode or alert mode, or that we have to. Alert is as low as reasonably practicable. So that our aim should be to reduce the risk to the, at least to the LRP region. We need to go to the safe region, but at least we should go to the LRP region. And accordingly, we can put the controls. Now, there can be three things. One is elimination. Another is modification, by which we can reduce the risk. Another, once you find out the risk, it can be eliminated, or whether it can be controlled, or we can put some of the controls which are administrative controls, some of the engineering controls we can put and try to reduce the risk and recover. Can the potential consequences or effect be mitigated? What are the recovery measures for the required, and all that? That can be done with the PHA. Next is, yeah. So this is how the PHA is useful in reducing the risk. And if you see, the most complicated factory in the world is our human body, which is mobile, and still all the processes are taking place in our body, which are we are doing outside also. So we are grateful to God also for allowing us such a wonderful factory which is working day and night without stoppage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bharatji. Thanks a lot. It was quite comprehensive, and especially I liked so much of so many examples that you have put. That shows, the profound experience that you have. So at this point, let us have some questions directed to Bharat Thakkar. Can you raise your hand? Mr. Bonda, go ahead, unmute yourself and ask the question. Hello?
Mr. Pongal, unmute yourself.
Yeah. Very good evening. Very nice presentation, sir. So I have only one question. When you're talking about the spillage of the tank, like any engineering controls, like, see, up to my concern, like if there is a 50 meters of a tank, when the source is pumping to the tank, if it's reaching to 14 meters, automatically there should be engineering control, like a sensor, where somebody has to acknowledge that, okay, we are monitoring. If they're not monitoring, automatically it should be cut off when it's coming to 15 meters. If it's not cut off, then it will be overflowing. So any kind of sensor engineering controls will be applied over there? Because you're talking about the spillage and catastrophic fire accident. So at that point of time also, right, the sensors are available. So that's my little question.
So please make it little clear.
Yeah, my things are like, I'm asking about the sensor, like engineering controls. When you're saying about the overflow of the tank, right? There's an overflow of a tank where there is a catastrophic incident happened due to the overflow of tank and fire got ignited because of other sources. If we can use the engineering controls like a sensor, where before the overflow, if there is a sensor where they can cut off the flow from the source to the tank.
Yes. That is what actually the if we put a control over there, that if the level reaches high, we should stop the pump.
Absolutely.
So, then it would not have happened. Then the incident would not have taken place. But in those times, that is in the 90s, and this incident has taken place in 90s. So because of that, at that time, this analyzing and HAZOP, and they were not that popular in India. They started in 90s, later 90s, and awareness about the HAZOP and other PHA studies came on later on. It came into picture later on, and most probably it started with since 2003-4 that had started gaining the importance. Till then, this was not gaining importance. That's the reason that it can so many accidents took place between 1980s and 90s. If you see in India, because one of them was the Bhopal, and then once the Bhopal incident took place, people were quite awakened, and then they started doing, what should we do and what can be done and all that. Till then, the factory was running, and it is running.
Okay, because the PSC system, pressure safety valve and other things all came long back. And why is this not implemented when we are producing a huge production for this kind of things? So I just about this incident. Thank you, sir. Anyhow, thank you so much.
Good. I think we have two more hands raised. Please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Sir, very nice presentation, sir. Sir, regarding the PHA, there is a common PHA as per your slide. It is mentioned what if analysis checklist and AZID, HAZOP, and FMEA and QRA, sir. Now suppose the maximum companies they are choosing important for HAZOP, sir. Before conducting the HAZOP, is it required to conduct before SIL study or QRA? Is it required compulsory before conducting HAZOP, SIL study and FMEA and QRA has to be conducted, or what is the sequence, sir?
No, you see, sequentially, if you see, first we should conduct HAZOP. Based on HAZOP, we have to go for those which is having high risk, we should go for the SIL study. And QRA is quite different from the HAZOP and SIL study, because these studies are qualitative studies or semi-qualitative studies, qualitative studies or semi-quantitative studies, while QRA is a quantitative study. QRA is a quantitative risk assessment. This gives idea if the things happen, then what will be the effect. Here in HAZOP, what we are doing, we are trying to understand, or we are trying to eliminate, or we are trying to reduce the risk before it happens. While in case of QRA, we try to find out what quantum of risk is there. So that is why it is a quantitative. The methodology for both, everything is different. HAZOP methodology is different, QRA methodology is different. QRA methodology is a calculative methodology. Say, for example, there is a leak of 5 mm, 10 mm, 15 mm, 20 mm, and what will be the release if the gas is or gas or liquid is flammable, how far it can go, what type of fire can take place, and all that. If the toxic release is there, then up to what distance the toxicity will be spread and all that. While in HAZOP, we are not quantifying anything. We say qualitatively, if there is a leak, what is to be done? And what are the causes and what will be the consequences? So first study one should do is HAZOP. Based on HAZOP, one should go for field study and other studies. And QRA is total different study.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you have time, thank you, sir. If you have time, I will ask later, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, okay, sure.
Yeah, let's have one more question. I think someone else also had raised the hand.
Mr. Mohammed
This is Mohammed.
Please.
Yes, good evening, sir. My question is on which factors I should choose which factors that I should base to decide on which BHA tool I can choose in my industry. As long as I'm working in the oil and gas hydrocarbon processing plant, sometimes you require HAZOP, and the other then you require also BOTAI, and many other BHA. So on which factor I should decide? Which BHA to select?
Which tool to select?
Yes. Which type of? The factors that factor which make me choose specific BHA type.
Yes, sir. The question is like we have many PHA studies like what if and hazard and hazard. So his question is on we don't need to do every time all the studies, right? So what are the factors by which we can decide yeah, I need to do this study, what if, or I need to do HAZOP, or I need to do this anyhow. What are the factors which will help us to decide the particular PHA we need to do?
For that, initially we need to find out what are the hazard. We need to first find out the hazards associated with your plant. Which type of hazards are there? Whether it is a fire hazard, whether it is a toxic hazard, whether it is a mechanical hazard more, whether it is a chemical hazard more. Based on that, one should find out what type of study one should do. This is a chemical hazard. We have to go for the HAZOP, release of chemicals and all that. When there hazard is considered, based on there are two methods of hazard. Hazard means hazard identification method. So whatever the manual operations we are doing in that, what hazards are involved, for that we need to do hazard. For chemical hazard, we need to do HAZOP, like that.
Good. With this, we close. As Mr. Tucker already told, it is quite late in India, and people further east, if there are people from Malaysia and all. So we have, although we have past our due time, but since the sessions were very interesting, I'm seeing that still a lot of people have are continuing with us. 68 people to be precise. So it's a very good participation. And thank you, Mr. Tucker. It has been a very enlightening session. And as I told, that your experience that you shared, your good examples, they were really good. Are there some more questions from some people? I'm talking of in general. If you have some questions about this forum, about these meetings, that also you can raise. Shahzad Sheikh, you have raised your hand.
My question is that I want to ask that in PCM there is a
we can take the questions later. Let me pose the quiz.
Ramana, you want to Okay, you.
Yes, sir. I
Okay,
think
go ahead.
so. Other people can. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Sazad, just 1 minute. Mr. Ramanna will update about the quiz, and then you can go ahead with your question. So other people can. If you go to your chat box, there is a link given. You just need to open this link and answer a few simple questions, and which we have gone through the presentation. There is nothing new, but it will brush up what you have seen in the presentation. So those who will be attending this quiz, online quiz, will get a certificate of attendance from ASSP Kuwait chapter. I request all of you to participate in that quiz, and then we will announce the winner very soon. Once you will finish it, we will have immediately our winners with us, and we will announce it before we end the session. So Ramana, have you posted?
Yeah, we have posted. Yeah,
Okay, okay. You can just go to the chat, and then you can see one link posted by Mr. Riaz ASSP Kuwait, and just go to that link. You will be able to answer the questions. The time will be how much, Mr. Ramana?
yeah, 2 minutes only. It's very simple. And
Yeah, okay,
meantime, you can go with the questions in the
okay.
chat box if
So,
time permits.
Mr. Mr. Shahzad, please go ahead with your question.
My question is that in process safety management, there is a D-level committees. Can you tell me this the advantage for this or not in the PSM? It is an important tool because I'm from the electrical company of K Electric in Pakistan. We have started this committee. What's the benefit of this committee? There's benefits. There's a 10,000 more than 10,000 employees in this company. So what's the benefit of this in PSM about the D committee, B committee, C committee level?
Bharatji, you are still there?
Yes, I'm here.
No, Bharatji.
Yes.
Can you please answer?
Regarding?
Someone's mic is, please, Ramanna, could you please check and mute because it is making too much disturbance.
We have a question. Shahzad, can you please ask your questions once again?
Hello.
Mr. Shahzad, could you please unmute and please ask your question again?
I'm asking questions that there's a PSM process safety management. There is a D level committees, B level, C level, A level committees. I want to ask that there's a 10,000 more than 10,000 employees in the corporation. How to manage this PSM and the committees? Is this a benefit or not?
Question, I'm not getting it clear. What?
Sir, the question is,
Hmm.
Mr. Shahzad is asking, Mr. Shahzad, correct me if I'm wrong. There are different PSM committees I think they have made in their organization, which is A level, B level, C level committee. And there are more than 10,000 employees in the organization. So how to manage these committees? This is the question, I think.
This is a
Mr.
question. This is a
Shahzad,
question. Yes, right. This is a question.
okay. So,
Different
this is the question.
Different committees are made in the organization.
Yes, sir. But there are 10,000 employees. So how to manage these committees?
This is the one term of the this is one factor which I think in PSM, process safety management of the D level committees.
Shahzad, since it is not directly related to what Mr. Bharat Thakkar he just now explained us, it was more to PHA. Now, as far as your question is concerned, that you have different committees in your organization, and possibly that is what many of, hopefully, I am not too sure, many other companies they are doing with or without government or regulatory guidance, different committees. So if you have committees, then there would be committee structure would be there, their objectives, and those processes will be there. So possibly you have to go back to find out as to why those committees were made. Now, as far as committee, whether committee objectives are met or not, I think initially, if you attended Nalicia's presentation, that was about leadership and how to keep people engaged. Since you have 10,000 employees in the organization, it is very important that they are kept engaged, and hopefully that would help you. That kind of advice what Nalicia gave. So uh, you may not to find a direct answer right here, but keep attending these sessions. Keep be with us, and you will try to. We will hopefully in future you will try to get some of the answers. Maybe you can share with us your offline you can share as to what are these committees, what is the purpose of these committees. Some of us could advise you on
Okay.
that. But it is good that you
Okay,
asked
sir.
this
I will
question.
share with you.
Yeah. No, I very much
This is
like that
I
you
want
asked
to
this
some I want
question.
to sir, I want to share something. This level is only for the safety. There is a safety questions regarding safety questions for the employees. So on weekly basis we arrange the meetings on D level, and there are four level of the committees in PSM in process of team management: A level, B level, C level, D level. In A level there is a CO, in B level the top management, and C level and four level is the below the AM managers. So they've discussed only for the safety issues, and they raise the question regarding the safeties.
That's very good. I think I would very much encourage that you continue with that. However, you have rightly raised this question as to how to ensure that these committees they keep delivering what are their objectives, the purpose. So we'll talk about this later on because right now we have crossed our deadlines. Ramana, you have now answers to the questions to the quiz.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, please.
So, Ramana, we have our results. Thanks everyone for participating in this quiz, and we have the winners with us. Congratulations to all winners. The first winner is Mr. Vinay Krup. Thanks for answering the quiz questions, and thank you so much for participating positively, and many congratulations to you. The next we have winner 2. So these winners are based on the maximum number of right answers and within a minimum time. So there may be many people who has answered right, but the time also
Clear.
considered here.
Share.
So next is Mr. Rahim Muhammad Yunus Sheikh. Congratulations. Thanks for participating. Mr. Faisal, thank you, and congratulations. Mr. Safiur Rahman Sheikh, congratulations. And Mr. Sunil Kumar is our 5th winner for today for answering the quiz questions rightly and within the time frame. and faster
Very
than
good.
the other participants. Congratulations, everyone, and thanks for participating. Sir, to you.
Okay, so before we move on, let's have some people, some volunteers for our next meeting. That is third Wednesday of March, 7 p.m. Kuwait time. Do we have some volunteers? Let me again explain that these meetings we conduct, for networking, for knowing each other. Possibly this time we couldn't get enough time to introduce new members, new participants, because the presentations were a little longer than normal. Next time, of course, we will be introducing new members as well. However, at this point of time, let me explain you that we are having two presentations. Both would be about 20 minutes each. And one will be from someone who is upcoming, would talk about some, incidents that have happened way back in the past, or some very famous incident, or some incidents that the person has got some knowledge, and would be presenting. The second presentation is by someone who is experienced. For example, just now we learned from Mr. Mazhar Sheikh, Mr. Bharat Thakkar. Now, this kind of presentation is for those who have experienced an incident by themselves and gained. Normally, I call it failure, learning from failure. That means an incident where I failed myself, and now I am here to explain to you so that you don't meet a similar incident, similar accident. So these are the two presentations that we have slots for next meeting as well, which takes place every third Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. Kuwait time. So at this point, I request volunteers to come forward. Don't be scared about making, complicated and fancy PowerPoint presentations. Even if you are coming out with some Word document or just a few pictures you want to share, or PDF, it's fine with us, as long as you are able to convey what you want to say. So don't be scared of, that you will be presenting. You will be investing time in presentations, making presentations. And moreover, if some of you think you want somebody to help you out, mentor you, even that is possible. There are a lot of people who are ready to support you. So go ahead and raise your hand. We need 2 volunteers for the next meeting. Yes. What's the matter? We don't seem enough people interested. Okay, Mr. Devendra Rathore, very good. We have someone who would like to present as, he is calling himself junior presenter. I won't call you junior presenter. You will be the senior presenter, because you will be presenting the first presentation. And I really appreciate your initiative. So go
yes,
ahead.
Sir, Devendra here, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Devendra. What you wish to present about?
Yes, sir. I would like to present in the next session. Some incident I would like to present in the session, sir.
Yeah, okay. So if you want any suggestions regarding the incident that you would like to present, we can always work it out separately. Okay? Or you have
Sure,
some
sir. Sure.
incident
I
in
will
mind.
contact you, sir. Sure.
Mhm. If you have some incident in mind you are more familiar with, that you can, come forward. Okay, now we need someone who is more experienced and would talk about his or her personal failures. Who is ready? I see there were quite a few names who are very experienced people attending this session, attending this meeting.
Sir, I think for that we have lined up for few of very senior presenters,
Okay, go ahead.
senior people.
Then I think you can work out separately.
Yes, sir.
Great.
Yes, sir. So that is, if
Okay,
somebody
so
from
thank
here
you.
is there, please send message to me. No issues.
Yeah, we are. I mean, these meetings are there, and I'm quite sure for many more years these will continue. Prepare yourself. So at this point, those who are interested to continue, maybe Ramana and Riaz can continue the event
So,
for some
we
more
will just
time.
do felicitations, sir,
Go
as
ahead.
you are with us. Ramanna, please go to the felicitation. Thank you. So we had a very nice different topic today from the yani from USA, Miss Nalicia, on the leadership, and it is quite a wonderful thing, insightful presentation to think on ourselves. Thank you so much, Miss Nalicia. Though she is with not us, she can see on the YouTube. And Bharat sir, thank you so much. Within a very short time, you accepted my proposal, and this is really pleasure to have you on board. And very much thankful for your experience sharing, because this is, I think, highest number of personal experience somebody would have shared on this platform with us. So thank you so much. We will see in future also with more detailed information from your personal experience. So thank you so much for sparing your time so late today. And with this, I would like to thank everyone who have joined today, spared their time, participated in the quiz, asked the questions. It is really wonderful to see all of you guys here tonight with us on a PSM's 8 meet. Inshallah, our next meet will be on same on a 17th March, and it will be from the 7 to 8:30 p.m. We have already have our first presentation, Mr. Devendra Rathore with us, and we have one very experienced personal for the next session also. We will have more good presentations in upcoming our technical meets. Thank you so much once again. Thank you, Ujjwal sir. Ashok sir, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Sir, please say a few words for today's meet and future things.
No, it is of course, we did that bi-weekly quiz based on the PSM's elements. And you see the winners there, Mr. Ihab, as well as Mr. Muhammad Abdul and Mr. Nachpali. And as per the quiz protocol, the second bi-weekly quiz will be based on the today's presentations. So we'll be circulating the presentations as well as the quiz, whatever we shared today through the WhatsApp. Then those names will be announced by next time, So that's something like that. So that's what I wanted to tell Mr. Sheikh.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And congratulations to these three winners also. And we will continue this journey ahead. Ujjwal sir, few final words from your side before we close meeting.
No, nothing much, just because it is quite some time now. So thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you.
And I am very
Thanks,
proud
everyone.
that chapter is continuing with this these meetings. Thank you. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, everyone. And with this, we are closing our meeting. See you once again in our training sessions, awareness sessions, and especially on the next month, 17th March, 7 p.m. Sharp. We will start. Good night and take care of your health. Have a good night. Bye bye.
Good night. Bye.
Thank you, Majarji. Now,
Thank you.
We are going to have some networking. Those who are interested, they can, yeah, they can carry on. You can open your mics and you can even open your cameras and have a word. And those who didn't receive certificates, you can just check in your spam and junk folders because it is an automated system. Once you participate in the quiz, it will automatically comes to your inbox. There is no delay. Okay, so there won't be any communication gap. Also, there won't be any technical difficulty. Also, I request everyone to check your junk spam folders in case if you didn't find in your inbox. Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, it's too late. It seems. If anyone would like to talk, you can open your mic and talk, or else we'll close the meeting. Okay, thank you. Thank you all for participating. Next PSC meeting will be on 17th March 2021, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Kuwait time. And we have another upcoming event on 24th, which will be announced soon. By tonight, you will be receiving the announcement for that event. Hope to see you in that meeting.